No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Pow day.
Dude, let's go.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Happy Taco Bell Tuesday to you at Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. Yeah, we appreciate Taco Bell for being our Tuesday sponsor. So perfect day after school. Get the family out before Boy Scouts or basketball practice or whatever you got tonight. Get out to Taco Bell for those $7 Lux Cravings boxes, the Cantina Bowls, all the good options there at Taco Bell. My name is BJ Rains. This is Bronco Nation News Live. Our title sponsor is RowPaint.com, and every Tuesday and Friday we get a chance to chop it up with our man, the sports director over at KTVB, Jay Tust. Jay, happy Tuesday to you, man. You got the Mariners hat on, pitchers and catcher. Or I guess you got the Ken Griffey Jr. Baseballism hat on there. But pitchers and catchers reporting yesterday, today, tomorrow, spring training in the air, and snow still on the ground here in Boise. I saw it's going to be low 60s and sunny in San Diego this weekend. So looking forward to getting out of here when more snow comes in. But we're not quite to the warm weather, but when pitchers and catchers, baseball's going on, we can at least start to dream about warmer weather here.
Yeah, we can. You're exactly right. And our little annual quick trip out of town before March Madness is on the horizon too, to get down to Arizona and see some family. So I'm excited for spring training to get underway, because it's always a good sign in the Tust household. That's for sure. Yeah,
I love spring training. I was just listening to watching one of the radio shows in St. Louis I listened to. They're live at Cardinal Spring Training this week, doing some interviews and things. So it was we still are the only team that hasn't signed a major league free agent yet. We said we were going to have a youth movement, and we didn't trade any, and no one wanted to leave. So we are stuck with everybody to this point. So it's been a weird off season for the Cardinals, who have literally done nothing. Haven't signed a player. We did one trade for some guy on the 40-man bench, backup AAA guy, but we've done nothing. So it's going to be a weird year for the Cardinals. I guess you guys were there. We were one of the two that hadn't done anything, but you guys finally signed somebody and made a trade or something.
Yeah, our management continues to promise the world and give us peanuts. So yeah, Whatever. I'll live in the optimism that everybody's going to have a career year and we'll go to the World Series finally.
Well, we can maybe start a new, random show on BNN that just talks baseball at some point. That might get
There it
better
is.
views. Me and Johnny can just talk baseball once a week or something. I don't know. But,
Baseball Nation news.
yeah, or maybe we just literally have a show where we talk about anything but Boise State sports. We just have a random non show. I don't know, but this is Bronco Nation News Live, 9 a.m. to 9:45-ish every weekday. We talk Boise State football, basketball, whatever else is going on. I think programming note, Austin Bolt is going to join us tomorrow morning, get a little football talk, just catch up with Austin with kind of a bye week for basketball, not a ton going on. So we're going to get Austin on, talk about him coming back and maybe some storylines. We're here a couple weeks away from spring ball. But Jay, I know it's a bye week for Boise State basketball, but some big games tonight. I'm looking forward. I'm hoping had some weird issues with the multi-view on YouTube TV when it comes to games on different channels and things, and you have two Mountain West games at 9:00 tonight that I'm very intrigued in terms of San Diego State at San Jose State, and then you've got Colorado State at Utah State. Both of those are at 9:00 tonight and have implications on the top part of the standings here. So Boise State not playing tonight, but a couple big games. Get the kids to bed. We'll get done with baseball practice and everything, and then two intriguing games for me. It'll be a late night, but another fun one in the Mountain West.
First off, how do you have problems with watching games? You have 7 TVs.
The YouTube, well, because the comfort. Come on, you don't need, as Johnny would say. Let's move on. No, the comfortable couch / chair that I enjoy when I can watching stuff in. There's just one TV in that room. So
okay.
And the YouTube TV function is supposed to, again, don't get me started, but the YouTube TV function has this multi-view and they allow you to watch multiple things at once, but they don't give you a full customization over that. A lot of the things are preset, and then there are some that let you build your own, but you can't truly build your own. There's some combinations of CBS, Fox, I don't know all the details, where they just literally don't give you an option to play both of those games. So I'm a bit nervous that I think I've had this in the past where one was CBS Sports Network, one was FS1, and for whatever reason, that's not an option on the multi-view to watch both at the same time. So you are correct. Hashtag blessed. There's another area that I could go in the house and maybe watch both at once. So just not as comfy over there, and everyone else by 9:00 will be asleep in my household. So it's just kind of, thought I'd cozy up by the fire and watch some basketball tonight. We'll see. I don't know, Jay, but I don't know. I love YouTube TV aside from the price continuing to rise. I mean, the one when it started was how cheap it was, and now it's not. It's like 80 plus bucks a month or something, but that's another point. But come on, this is the year 2025. You've figured out this multi-view thing. Why can't you just watch whatever you want? I don't understand why they tell you which games and combinations you can put together. It took way too long for them to at least figure out this quad box thing. It's great. I love it. They finally have multiple shows you can watch at once, but I don't understand why it's not 100% fully customizable. I read an article where it's just, I guess, super tough technology wise, but hopefully tonight, both Mountain West games will be an option to watch at the same time, because I do think both are very intriguing games. I know most people might be going, oh, San Diego State at San Jose State. I mean, at Viejas Arena, San Jose was up 20 points on San Diego State, and now they have to go back to San Jose, where everybody knows is kind of a tough, sleepy place to play. And New Mexico already lost at San Jose. Boise State almost lost at San Jose, and they're an intriguing team when they're playing at home, and that spread's only like 5.5 points. And then obviously the big game of the night is in Logan, Utah. You've got Utah State hosting Colorado State. That's also kind of a oddly smaller spread than I was expecting to see, like 6 points, 6.5 points. But either way, that either gives Colorado State a fourth loss and would move them into that kind of thing, that jumbled with San Diego State, Boise State to help them for, in the fight for third place, or that would give, drop Utah State down to a third loss, which would help. So either way, when there's two teams ahead of you in the standings playing for Boise State, I mean, they're going to gain ground on somebody either way. So, but both those games tonight are intriguing. There is another Mountain West game, Air Force at UNLV at 8, maybe as a little bit of a warm up, but not super interested in that one. No Boise State tonight, but a couple intriguing games tonight.
Yeah, and that's the first time that Colorado State has played Utah State this year. Those are the two teams that haven't actually met. Just the way the schedule kind of fell. So they'll play twice in the final 3 weeks of the season after not playing once at all in the first, month and a half or 2 months really of the season. So yeah, interesting to see. And it's so funny because whenever these games come up, it's usually the who do you want to win? And I still think it's too early to kind of figure that out. Technically, if Colorado State were to beat Utah State tonight, then Boise State could catch everybody uh, up to the number 2 seed, really, because they still play Utah State here in Boise. Same with Colorado State, so they could still kind of be in control of their own destiny if that were the case. But I still think that Utah State loses at least once more somewhere along the way. Outside of having to come up to Boise and play the Broncos.
And if you
But
are a Mountain West basketball fan, by the way, last night you had Nevada winning big over Fresno State. That started a stretch of 6 out of 7 days. There's a Mountain West basketball game on TV, 6 out of 7 and 8 out of 10. You had the odd Monday game last night. You have 3 games tonight. Tomorrow night, you have Wyoming at New Mexico on Fox Sports 1 tomorrow night. There's no game on Thursday, but then Friday night, you get Nevada at San Jose. Saturday, you got 3 games, including Boise State at San Diego State. And then Sunday, we get Utah State at New Mexico on a Sunday afternoon this weekend. Utah State, New Mexico, a huge Sunday afternoon game this Sunday. So, and then there's some big games, obviously, next Tuesday and Wednesday with New Mexico coming to Boise State next Wednesday. But 6 out of 7 days, Jay Tust continues tonight with some Mountain West basketball on TV.
like the sounds of that. You asked me last week, BJ, at what point in time can, Boise State fans somewhat realistically start to let March Madness creep back into their minds. And I think we both kind of agreed if you go get a win at Viejas, then there's still work to be done, but I think that at least you have a quad 1 victory back on your resume, and you start to work with some momentum down the stretch of the season. And so that's why this Saturday's game is such a big one. But if you do kind of look at the overall picture, I'll just reiterate, they still got a long ways to go. Like they still have to fight to get back into this thing. But if you do look at how some of the things are falling around them, Clemson is really helping Boise State right now. The Broncos didn't play last night, but they still moved up from 48 to 47 in the net. Main reason why is you have Clemson doing some serious damage in a 3-day stretch. They upset number 2 Duke, and then they just absolutely crushed UNC last night. And so now Clemson goes from 33 to 27. And because that was a true home game for Boise State, they need the Tigers to be in the top 30. But right now, Boise State has 2 quad 1 wins, and those are over a team that is a half game out of first place in the ACC, and a team that kind of at the moment has a nice comfortable lead in the WCC, and those just feel like two really good resume boosters, because those teams are darn near NCAA tournament locks at this point.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Looking at bracketologist.com right here on the screen, they do a nice job of kind of putting this. I know, Jay, you spent way more time and had a much nicer graphic on Twitter with the same information earlier today. But as you said, now 2-3, still not great, but the next 4 games. If I scroll down on the schedule here, the next 4 games for Boise State all are quad 1 or quad 2 games. And so this is going really slow. Wow. But you look at the situation that they're in coming up here. Quad 1 Saturday at San Diego State, quad 2 with a home game against New Mexico right now. And as you said, Jay, right now for the time being, I'm not banking on that holding, but New Mexico is 74th right now. So that is another quad 1 opportunity at New Mexico, next or at Nevada, next Saturday. They're 74th. If they're top 75, that's quad 1. So right now that is quad 1, but I would just, by the time the season shakes out, and I don't have a lot of faith in Nevada, I'm still thinking that's probably going to finish as a quad 2 game. But either way, Jay, the next 4 games, quad 1, quad 2 opportunities, New Mexico and Utah State at home. And we mentioned at San Diego State. And then Colorado State, believe it or not, is 78th. So that's still a quad 3 home game against Colorado State, which seems crazy to finish out the regular season. But so that could maybe move up to quad 2. But as we've talked about, a lot of opportunities, and the last 4 games, Jay, it's funny because they beat 4 teams they were supposed to beat. They beat 4 kind of bad teams on the schedule, so to speak. And yet that's what kind of moved them back into the, at least peripheral, discussion out, of the tournament. And now they've actually got a chance to get some wins that would actually move the needle.
Right.
The last 4 games were just wins. They just needed wins. They were 13-7. They were 5-4 in Mountain West play. So they just needed to beat anybody. You just couldn't afford any more losses at that time. But now you're 17-7, you're 9-5. And as you said, I think it starts to get real if you just win on Saturday. You find a way to go win at Viejas, which, let's be honest, I mean, San Diego State, it's still San Diego State. It's still Viejas Arena. But with that said, we've seen some much less talented teams, Wyoming, San Jose, go in there and be winning by double digits or whatever at one point in the game and nearly pull off the wins. We've seen San Diego State already sitting there with 4 conference losses. This is not a, vintage San Diego State team that maybe Boise State has played in years past. So can they go to Viejas and get a win? Certainly. I think they have a great chance to go get a win there. But if they can pull that off, I think that's when it really starts to get a little more real, like you said, because you would have that coveted quad 1 win to add to your resume. And we unfortunately have to look at this stuff every year, Jay, that 2-3 in quad 1, 2-3 in quad 2 is just not enough right now to get it done or even sniff a spot in the tournament. I mean, I think New Mexico is like 9-2 or something in the first 2 quadrants, and they're still considered one of the final teams in the field right now in some brackets. So they have a lot of work to do. But if you were to go, let's just say 3-1 in this stretch, all of a sudden you're sitting there at 7-7, 6-7. I mean, at least 6 quad 1. You're at 4 right now, so you'd be at 7-7 in quad 1 and 2, which looks a little better. But certainly getting Saturday's win, a quad 1 win to temporarily get to 3-3 in quad 1. If you get a 500 average in quad 1, and then if you can bulk up some more quad 2 wins, again, long way to go, but the path, Jay, at least looks, there at least looks like there is maybe a path and maybe a dream, as opposed to, the thought a couple weeks ago.
Right. And it all starts with defending your home floor. There's not a lot of options. There's not a lot of margin for error left in this season for Boise State to get back into the fight. So they have to defend their home court, and they got some tough teams coming here, whether it be Utah State, New Mexico, and hey, Colorado State beat Boise State in Fort Collins, so we'll throw the Rams on there as well. And well, I do think that the Rams are a little overvalued right now, like you do as well. They are still 9-3 in league one way or the other. So Boise State has to, this is really going down the stretch here. This is really about Boise State proving they can beat good teams in the Mountain West. I mean, there are 5 teams that get a bye, right, at the Mountain West Conference tournament. One of them at the moment is Boise State. The 4 other teams, Boise State hasn't beaten one of them this year, right? So they have absolutely wild. They've been perfect against, the bottom half of the league, essentially, and 0 for the top half of the league. I will point out that they had to go on the road to a number of those opponents. San Diego State was the only one that won in Boise. Outside of that, Boise State got crushed at New Mexico, barely lost to Utah State, barely lost to Colorado State. So they had to go out on the road, and now they get to host, 3 out of those 4 teams. There's still a chance for them to get back into this race, but they have to prove that they can beat good teams, and that starts at Viejas Arena coming up on Saturday. But it just feels like the bye felt it at such a perfect time, BJ, because the last time, I can't imagine the bye was too friendly to them last time on a 2-game losing streak. They were in 6th place in the Mountain West Conference standings at that point in time. And since then, they've been really, really good. So how do you rest up, but also maintain that necessary edge to have a really strong finish here? We'll see if Boise State can do that over these next few days before they get down to San Diego.
I mean, and we have the Mountain West standings from Ken Palm here on the screen. I'll get back to these in a second, but you're right, Jay. I mean, the bye could not have come at a better time last time and this time. The way the schedule has worked out, they were at that rock bottom moment, and they had the week off to really focus and get in there and work on some things. And then they had 4 winnable games to get some momentum and kind of get rolling again. And then you kind of take a reset, and you have another bye, and you get an extra day as well with playing on Friday night, as opposed to playing on a Saturday or a Sunday or something and not having the full week off. So they took Saturday and Sunday off. Leon joked, you were there in the presser, kind of like it was almost like a mini all-star break. Go to Cabo, do whatever you want to do. Like just get away for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday off. Don't think about basketball. They came back and practiced yesterday. They'll practice today. And then they get it. And these 2 days, Jay, are like what you're talking about, more just general focus on themselves, focus on defense, focus on their own stuff. And then they'll take tomorrow off on Wednesday and then get 2 days to focus Thursday, Friday on San Diego State. So the way this schedule worked out to have this much rest, well, oh yeah, San Diego State had to play Saturday on the road and had to play Tuesday tonight on the road, while Boise State's sitting back working on themselves and taking resting days. And who knows what's going to happen, but in terms of the way the schedule in the middle here worked out, it was a great setup, and you're going to get a fresh, again, you're right. Look what the last bye did. Set them up to play 4 of their best defensive games of the season, albeit against lower competition. I get it. But with the way it's set up and the time here to focus on themselves, but still have time for San Diego State, and more importantly, get some rest ahead of this busy stretch here, I think it's just a perfect way the schedule worked out for them.
I agree. And real quick to your note, like about the defense, it has been real over these last few games. And, I think during this 4-game winning streak specifically, opponents have made 18.8% of their threes against Boise State. Now, that's a drastic drop off from what we saw earlier in the season. And over this stretch, so basically since January 29th, that's the fourth best defensive 3-point field goal percentage in college basketball. And as you know, BJ, there's like 364 teams. I mean, that's so that's saying something about, I don't care who you're playing. And I even know that San Jose State's not great, but one thing they do well is shoot the three, and Boise State shut them down from behind the arc too. I think they were like 2 of 15 or 2 of 18. It wasn't much for San Jose State, a team that's really lived and died by the three this year. So Boise State's gotten a lot better in those regards. I think they're also allowing teams to not shoot as many threes, which is again kind of something, a strength of, I would say, the Leon Rice era. But if we jump over to now that we've hit net rankings and Ken Palm, I think that Bart Torvik is the trifecta here, just to make sure we get everybody included. Yes. And he does the NCAA tournament projections in terms of percentage. What's the chance you're actually going to make the round of 64 in this case? I know there's 68, but he also does I guess we could just do percentage that they get in. Boise State was like 27% last week. They're now up to 44. So that's it's still a little less than a coin flip of terms of whether or not they get in. But now all of a sudden, if they go beat San Diego State, I think you see that really, really jump again. New Mexico and Utah State are above 90. Those two teams seem like they are destined to make the NCAA tournament. But who's going to be that third, maybe fourth Mountain West team in? It's a fight between Boise State and San Diego State. I was actually pretty shocked, BJ, despite Colorado State's success in Mountain West Conference play, Bart Torvik's only giving them an 8.9% chance of making the NCAA tournament, and it's a 0% chance as an at-large. Like, he's saying they have to go win the Mountain West Conference tournament, which I would probably agree with at this point. But in terms of advancing to the round of 64, he actually has Boise State as a slightly better option than San Diego State, which is a little shocking to me at this time, but that's what his numbers apparently say.
Well, here are those numbers right here on the screen. There's some other things I love about Bart Torvik. One of those, Jay, is that you can kind of pick and choose date ranges and things for stats and things like that. And I know, you had some of those numbers, and I know Nathan Carroll in our article at BroncoNationNews.com points out that even going back to the San Diego State loss in early January, Boise State's the 25th ranked team in the country in terms of the metrics the last month plus. So Boise State the last month is playing at a top 25 level and a at-large level, even though they're 6-3 in that span. But you look at the numbers you were talking about here, and they are kind of confusing, but he has actually, according to his system, the second team out of the tournament right now, Boise State. And as you said, 43%, that does seem high. And part of that is winning the tournament, but is at 28.8, I guess, in terms of getting an at-large bid. And if I'm reading this correctly. So I think that certainly, and he doesn't have New Mexico on this side because they're on the other side, clearly in. The numbers are what they are, Jay. I know stuff can change, but as I mentioned, the last 4 games, I think you had some numbers like it's even higher than that in terms of defensively and the overall rankings here. But the last month or so, even though they lost some of those really close games to Colorado State on at the end and the Utah State, like if one or two of those, I mean, if both those go the other way, Boise State's clearly in the tournament right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a really fine margin. You can't change those outcomes. But in terms of just how they're playing and what the numbers say, the last month they've been playing at an NCAA tournament level. We'll just see if the some of the losses before that end up coming back to bite them, or if there's enough runway left here to overcome a Boston College loss and things like that and still find a way to sneak in.
Yeah, ifs really don't matter. I get it, but just for the fun of it for the moment, if they pull out those 2 games, which they very well could have. I mean, it took Utah State hitting a 4-point play inside of 10 seconds in order for the Aggies to avoid an upset. Boise State had a furious comeback against Colorado State, and then all of a sudden, just at the very end of the game, couldn't get a rebound or a stop. But if Boise State goes and gets those right now, they're 19-5 overall, 11-2 in Mountain West Conference play. I mean, you're right. Like they're probably the team that's got like a 90% chance to go to the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, 2 possessions have really swung this season in a very drastic direction, and now Boise State has to prove that they're the team that can make up for it down the stretch, which I have somewhat I definitely have more confidence now in them than I did a few weeks ago, especially after the Colorado State game. I just kind of threw my hands in the air, and I'm like, this team is not like Leon's last few teams where if you needed a defensive stop, they'd go out and get it. Like they can't get it. They have recently. They've strung together long scoring droughts recently in all 4 of their wins recently. But now, like I said, a few minutes ago, it's about upping the level of competition and proving that you can do it against a really good team. And now they also have to prove it in a really hostile environment.
Well, and I want to thank some sponsors. We need to get to a quick break here, but I will say, like, you think back to not only that Colorado State game, Jay, but the middle of the second half of that Colorado State game when they're down 17 points.
Man.
And and I know they still lost the game, but you felt a little better at least about them fighting and not being ready to give up by the way they kind of battled back and nearly won that game. But they're down 17.
Yeah, that was that game. Yeah, that was that game where everybody was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. You lost is a loss." And I'm like, "No, I think I would have felt way worse had they not came back in that game."
Yeah, I mean, it was like wow, this is really how the season's going to go. They're just going to get crushed here at Colorado State, and just that this is going to be it. They're just not going to. This is just one of those years. They're not going to be very good this year, and just chalk it up. And the talent didn't all gel together, and it just didn't fit. And man, I was just sitting there stunned in Moby Arena when they're down 17, just going, wow, man, it was just I don't want to say lifeless performance, but it just felt like they had no energy and nothing was clicking. And it was bad basketball, man, for 30 minutes of that game. And for them to find a way to battle back, have the lead, get it down to the end, and then to lose the way they did too. It was kind of like, oh my gosh, still a kick to the, kick to the wherever you want to have the kick go. I mean, it was a rough one, and not sure what I can say, but it was just a rough. It was terrible. And then you just think about where we're at now, Jay. And, I know it was 4 wins against bad teams, and all the detractors and trolls and everybody, the APs of the world, come on and say, oh, are we really talking about a 4-game win streak against 4, under 500 teams or whatever? But that's who they played. That's what the schedule said. And now we're really going to find out these next 4 games, where this team is at, and starting Friday against San Diego State. And, for the most part, I know they lost in Boise earlier this year, but Boise State has played pretty well against San Diego State the last couple of years, and in particular, down there last year, obviously the memorable overtime game, and Max Rice throwing in that almost half quarter, and it was there's been some memorable games in this series, and this is one for Boise State that they really need. But let's see what happens tonight with San Diego State and San Jose. But San Diego State really needs this game too. They're not clearly in the field. They're not sitting here in great shape by any means. Maybe we discuss that in a second, Jay, after I thank a couple sponsors. But this game means a ton for San Diego State, just like it does Boise State. So a lot on the line on Friday, and we'll continue this discussion here momentarily. But this is a Taco Bell Tuesday on Bronco Nation News. Taco Bell, visit one of the Treasure Valley Taco Bell locations today for the Cantina Bowls, the Lux Cravings boxes, the good old-fashioned chicken and beef, soft, hard-shelled tacos, the Nachos Belgrande, all the great options they have at Taco Bell. And they are hiring as well. So if you're looking for a job, you can get more information information online at TacoBellWorks.com. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, we'll have another installment of the Tyson Degenhart Show here on Bronco Nation News. Idaho Central Credit Union presents it. ICCU.com. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest is that mobile e-branch online banking right there in your smartphone. And we're appreciative of Idaho Central Credit Union. I'm so happy that Rain's family made the switch when we got them signed up as a sponsor. It's just been such a great experience, and I 100% recommend Idaho Central Credit Union to anyone that thinks they like their banking experience. I challenge you to make the switch, and you'll like it even more. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. And again, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, the Tyson Degenhart Show here on Bronco Nation News. Jackson's $2 for a hot dog and a fountain drink when the Broncos score 70 points when you use your Let's Go rewards. So hopefully that'll be the case coming up here on Sunday. And don't forget, 25 cents from every hot dog sold goes to support the Horseshoe Collective at Boise State. They donated $100,000 from Jackson's to the Horseshoe Collective in 2024 based off their hot dog sales. So you may not think that adds up, but 25 cents for a hot dog adds up. Support the sponsors, folks. Support the Horseshoe Collective. Go grab a hot dog at Jackson's. Our title sponsors, RoePaint.com, Andy Rowe and Company, ROEPaint.com. All your painting needs, make sure you hit up our title sponsor at RoePaint.com. Those concrete coatings, interior, exterior painting, they're coming out to do a drywall touch-up painting project for us, and they came out and Mike gave us the estimate. We approved it. Everything was good. It's been a great process so far. Looking forward to them coming out next week to get that project done, and we'll be telling you more about them as we move along. Hey, Snake River Pool and Spa, patio and game, whether it's a sauna, whether it's a pool table for the game room, a spa like you see on the screen, they got you covered at Snake River Pool and Spa locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. Been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. You can get more information online at thespateam.com. And our friends at the Blue and Orange store. I know a lot of places around town sell Boise State gear, but if you want the best selection, the best prices, support the Blue and Orange store and support the sponsors, folks. The blueandorange.store.com. You can order anywhere in the world online, and they've got some great flash sales and daily deals on the website, or you can also just go into the Boise Town Square Mall there, the second floor next to Pro Image, and we appreciate Travis Hawks and crew at the Blue and Orange store and all the sideline apparel, coaches gear, hat. I've never seen a bigger Boise State hat wall than they've got there at the Blue and Orange store. So if you need the newest and newest trends and styles, you can check out the Blue and Orange store at theblueandorangestore.com. All right, Jay, we were talking about the importance of this game for Boise State on Friday. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is a discussion we get into a little bigger on Friday, I guess. Being on Saturday, but San Diego State is not the as we're discussing kind of the Mountain West as a whole too today on the show. They're not the they're not the San Diego State of old. I mean, and they went and got maybe the best win of anybody in the country, beating Houston earlier this year. And they've got, a couple other nice wins as well, but they've also lost some kind of head scratching games. They've won some games where they were still down big to some teams. Like, they're just not the dominant type team. They've got some transfers. They've got some freshmen. I mean, Magoon Guath looks like an NBA player here before too long, and he's kind of emerging as a star. But there's a lot of I don't want to say no-namers, but just guys we're used to all these guys on San Diego State roster being there 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and oh man, Matt Mitchell and all these guys that we're just used to seeing for all these years. And it's been a little different way they've put it together this year. Still a very talented team, still one of the best defensive teams in the country, but certainly not maybe as dominant as some San Diego State teams in the past.
Yeah, and what you just said about Guath right there too, he's a guy that's really starting to kind of roll. He's had double digits in 4 straight games. They're actually, and it seems like they're running offense to or through him, because he's had 10 or more shot attempts in 3 straight games, and prior to those that stretch all season, he only had 1 game with 10 or more shot attempts. That's a matchup that worries me a little bit, because Boise State's gone small a lot recently. He's a 7-footer that I feel like it's going to be tough, just to put Tyson on him and hope for the best. Like, you're going to have a game plan to deal with the 7-foot freshman out of Texas. But in terms of how much has changed for Boise State since the last time these two teams met, it's drastic. Emmanuel Ugbo played 3 minutes the first time Boise State and San Diego State squared off. Chris Lockett, who doesn't really play anymore, I mean, honestly, outside of garbage time, I hate to phrase it that way, but that just kind of is what it is. He played 27 minutes and led the Broncos in scoring that night. Dylan Anderson was in the starting lineup for the Broncos back then. So there's been quite a few adjustments for Boise State. unfortunately for those guys, it's been for the better in terms of the results, it seems. So we'll see if those changes make a big impact or difference. But it really feels like they're going to need, Emmanuel Ugbo or Omar Stanley or one of those bigs to be able to go down and battle Guath.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was, let's not forget, I know they're different type of players, but Bear Cherry, they couldn't stop him against UNLV when they tried to go with that smaller lineup. He was just having his way inside. Now, Guath can shoot the three ball actually very good. He's maybe not just a guy you're just going to post up all game, even though he is 7 foot. So he's a different type player. I mean, Bear Cherry is 280 pounds. But someone's saying that might be a situation for Anderson, at least from a size standpoint. He does maybe match up a little better with Guath. But yeah, you worry about Nelly Jr. Joseph and some of these teams that have bigger players in terms of the interior. When Boise State's been going small recently, that does kind of concern you a little bit with some of the defensive matchups.
I agree with you. So they still have to have something left.
Save that one.
Right. They still have to have something left in the kitchen sink, if you will. Hopefully they haven't thrown it all at everybody yet, because they will have to, again, continue to show off their roster versatility, if you will, against San Diego State.
Well, again, 3 games tonight in the Mountain West. We'll put those on the screen here real quick for you. You got Air Force, and that's not today. That's next Tuesday, huh? I fast-forwarded a week on us. How about that? Let's go back here. Sorry about that, folks.
Nevada at Colorado State next Tuesday, though.
There you go. There's tonight's 3 games. Air Force at UNLV, Colorado State at Utah State, San Diego State at San Jose State. Do you have a thought on any of these 3 games, Jay? We touched on them at the beginning, but Utah State at home, 21-3, 11-2 in the league. And, again, got to be honest, the 5.5 looks a little low to me. I think at home with that crowd, I'm not saying Colorado State is, I'm not going to use, the F word. I don't want to say they're overrated, but I just think that their record at least is inflated a little bit by the schedule they've played. Jay, as you said, I think when it's all said and done, Colorado State's going to, probably be in 5th place, to be honest with you. I just think they're a solid team, but I think they have a lot of tough games, like you said, starting with tonight. And I like Utah State at home. I think Utah State's a much different team at home than they are on the road. I'm not ready to put Utah State in the Final Four yet either. I think they're a very good team, but I think they benefit, as much as anybody in America, maybe from a home court crowd advantage. So I would just think that's a tough spot for Colorado State tonight. I'm surprised the spread's not a little bit higher. I do think San Jose State gives San Diego State a game tonight, man. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe San Diego State just blows them out and plays great. But knowing that they matched up pretty well and played well, in Viejas Arena a couple weeks ago to, be up by 20 at some point in that game. Now, yes, they also blew a 20-point lead to them, so let's throw that out there. But I just, as someone that's been to the Provident Credit Union Event Center and seen how sleepy and weird it is to see a game there, it would not shock me if we look up with 3 or 4 minutes left, Jay, and that's a very, very tight game.
If San Jose State can beat New Mexico there, they can beat anybody in the league there this year, except for Boise State, because Boise State beat them there.
Good point.
But I'm serious. They're actually on a 3-game winning streak at home, where they beat New Mexico, Wyoming, and Air Force. Now, 2 of those you'd probably predict, but the New Mexico one, not so much. A 1-point victory for the Spartans. So if you are San Diego State, you're definitely on guard when it comes to that.
Let's see here what we got. I haven't visited the chat much today. Kind of neglected that. Ray says, why is Leon sitting on a chair most of the games this year? I don't think I've noticed that much.
I don't know if I have either.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. I mean, maybe here and there when you've looked or something, but I think he's been up and as
he always has like that kneel pose that he kind of does with his arm on the scorer's table and stuff, I feel. But maybe I'm wrong.
You can't really yell at the officials from the chair. I don't think that works out too well.
Exactly.
Tyler says he'll be curious to see how much if Leon's hesitant to use Peanut on the road, I guess, given what happened at UNLV.
Yeah. Peanut, man, I don't know if we gave him his credit the other game. Like,
came back on the first possession, took it to the rack, and scored a tough bucket there.
Yeah. And that was a little one. Like, we haven't seen Peanut get to the hoop that much. That shows off that, he's pushing his game a little bit. He's not just a shooter, but he had what? I don't have the stats in front of me, BJ, but he had like 7 points and 6 rebounds in like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 minutes, something like that.
Well, lucky for you, I didn't throw away the stat sheet yet, and it's still on my desk here. He had 7 points, 6 rebounds in 14 minutes,
14
plus
minutes. Okay.
16.
Yeah,
There you
I mean
go.
that's a pretty darn efficient contribution off the bench. You would
3 of 4
absolutely
from
take
the
that.
field.
Yeah.
3 of 4 from the field. Missed his only 3-point attempt. That was his only missed shot of the day, but did have a free throw. And 3 of those rebounds, by the way, were offensive rebounds.
Mhm.
And then he also had a steal, but did have 1 turnover.
That turnover was kind of bogus, though. Don't you remember that? That was the end of the game, and that was kind of a weird call at midcourt by the refs that didn't need to be called, and everybody was kind of flabbergasted at that. Game was like out of reach too. I don't know why I slowed the game down, but I think it was a really nice response for Peanut, and probably got a little bit of his confidence back.
Josh says we do not want to see San Diego State coming off a loss. Need them to beat San Jose.
You know what? I might agree with that, because then if you catch San Diego State coming off what would be back-to-back losses, actually going home, yeah, they'd be pretty charged up at that point in time. So you know what? I'll agree with that. You'd probably rather catch them coming off of a win than a loss.
Oh, we're going to finish up here in the final couple minutes, Jay. A little bit of football news. Cam Camper's out there tweeting some offers and things. I want to get your take on the Cam Camper situation and one other quick football nugget as we wrap up the show here in just a few minutes. But first, want to thank Lithia Ford of Boise, lithiafordboise.com. They got NIL deals going on, and they Jay made some history also. They now have a deal with Shannon Keegren, the freshman softball player, and it's the biggest NIL deal for a softball player in Boise State history. She's now rocking a white Ford Bronco. So shout out to the softball program and Shannon for getting a new ride. And they had a nice weekend. But Lithia Ford continuing to step up. They got the football players, but they got volleyball and softball and golf, and they're stepping up their NIL game on the women's side as well. So big shout out to Jim Sturk and company and Lithia Ford of Boise. You can view their full inventory online. Next car or truck purchase, make it at Lithia Ford of Boise. Hey, Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. Number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher and his team. The Raines family found out firsthand just what it means to decide to sell and purchase a home using Matt and his team. And part of it means you get to meet everybody in the picture there because the customer service is unmatched. No stone is left unturned. We were so thankful and happy that Matt helped us and our path led to the house that we found because we just love it. And it's all due to Matt and his team. So get more information and, speak with Matt at Bauscher Real Estate. Ridley's Family Markets. Shop Ridley's.com. They got 13 locations in the state of Idaho, surrounding states, whether you're heading up to McCall as the weather starts to warm up, whether you're in the Magic Valley, Treasure Valley, they got you covered. Ridley's Family Markets. Download that Skip app. Give savings up to 40% off at the checkout line. Get more information. Find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Looking for a job? Transportation Compliance Service can help you out. Transcompservice.com, whether it's DOT, overweight, all the paperwork, all the permits, everything you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. You can do that at Transportation Compliance Service. Lean Feast, leanfeastmeridian.com. Leanfeastmeridian.com is the website. Healthy meal options, 10,000 plus combinations, steak, shrimp, chicken, fish, turkey, ground beef. I mean, they got every kind of thing you could think of. They even have breakfast options. So the convenience is my favorite part. You just pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes and you're eating a delicious meal that, would take you hours to cook otherwise. So get more information, leanfeastmeridian.com. You can order from anywhere in the Treasure Valley now, so you don't even have to go into their store, leanfeastmeridian.com. If you want to leave us a voicemail, we'll be happy to play that for you. Speakpipe.com/BNN. Our signature roofing voicemail line. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on an upcoming show at speakpipe.com/BNN. And it is brought to you by Signature Roofing, covering our community for more than 2 decades. Get more information at mysignatureroofing.com, whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, an inspection, all your roofing needs. The Raines family is loving our roof from Signature Roofing, and you will as well. Get more information online at mysignatureroofing.com. All right, Jay, what is going on with the Cam Camper situation here? Because he was a guy that I think a lot of people thought would if he decided to want to come back, would be a huge piece to this team next year. McCoy obviously got that waiver and decided to come back. I know there was some thought that, well, maybe Cam Camper doesn't even have another year of college eligibility. The school wasn't quite sure what was going on there. And then he declares for the draft. And then a couple of days later, the report comes out that he's entering the portal, even though the portal's closed. And he is listed on the portal as a graduate transfer, which allows him to enter the portal whenever he wants. So he must have a college degree, I guess, to be able to be a graduate in the portal. So he technically, I guess, must think he has a year left, or other schools are interpreting that he has a year left. And we see a graphic for South Florida. I don't know if that means he committed there, he visited there, got an offer there. I have no idea. But other than Tampa and the beach and the weather, I'm not sure what South Florida offers that Boise State, wouldn't have offered for him this year moving forward. But just your take on where things are and the oddness of this Cam Camper situation.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is a little odd. Like I really loved Camp's game, and he had a great year, and I thought he brought a lot to this team. I guess my question is, again, do we still even know if he's eligible? Like I don't know if he's eligible. Like I don't know that.
The way I read it was if you played JUCO, those years just didn't count, and it's not necessarily a 5-for-5 type thing. It was just your time in JUCO did not count. So but obviously Boise State coaches, recruiting staff, administrators have way more. I'm going to trust their interpretation of it way more than mine, and they obviously didn't think it was as cut and dry, because he has done the 5 years and had the red shirt in the medical red shirt, I believe, in there somewhere, or just a red shirt period. And I guess that's the confusion. My understanding was that, anyone that played JUCO got a waiver for another year. And so I just assumed that he would be eligible, but I guess the injury and the timing of it all comes into play some. And like I said, I'm going to trust Spencer Danielson, and there's way more better paying folks that study this on a daily basis. I mean, that's literally their job, that if they weren't sure about it, then I guess they weren't sure. I mean, I'm going to take their word for it, but I always thought he did, based on my interpretation of the rule.
Yeah, I guess I'm not positive that which makes me want, like, I don't. Can you be in the transfer portal if you don't have eligibility? I don't know how that works, man. There are just some questions out there that just kind of loom. I think that one thing that we can kind of confirm, though, is that man, gosh, I guess I didn't want to go this far. I would be pretty shocked, though, if Cam Camper plays for Boise State again.
Oh yeah, I mean, if he's tweeting out offers from other schools and is officially in the portal, I wouldn't expect that. I mean, Keaton says he has an 80 reception, 1,200 yard season ready for him on a silver platter at Boise State.
If he has eligibility, I would agree.
I would too, but I'm going to take Spencer Danielson's word. If they weren't sure, I don't know though if that's why. I mean, why would you not? I don't know. And then why did he declare for the draft and then a couple days later enter the portal too? I'm just confused.
And I really think, again, I've reached out and tried to get a little bit more. I don't know exactly. My intuition on it, though, especially in this era, is if you think you have eligibility, you might as well explore it. While saying you're
way now with waivers and stuff, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
you might as well explore it while pursuing the NFL draft.
Why would he not have wanted to stay though? Why would I'm sure Boise State wanted him. Obviously, I just don't understand what.
I don't know. The only thing that
back to Indiana or another power program. When I saw, okay, I mean, and I would think power programs would be interested in him based off what he did, but if he were to land at a school like USF, that just wouldn't make a lot of sense to me.
I don't know what USF's NIL or collective is like. If you're Cam, I mean, like, straight up, if you're Cam and somebody's going to pay you $100,000 or $200,000 to go play receiver next year at the college level, you probably jump at that. Like, could he play in the NFL? Sure. Would I put my money on it at this point in time? Probably not. I hyped up Cam's game all season. I do. I think he is a great football player. I just know that he's battled some injuries and things like that. And so I don't know if it's too much to overcome in terms of getting to the NFL or things like that. Really like his game. Hope he finds success wherever he goes. He brought a lot to this football team. They're not in the Fiesta Bowl without him this last year. I do believe that that's the case. But whether it be, pursuing NIL money or whatever it might be, I mean, not to use his words, a way they're not supposed to be used, but is UCF or USF or Boise State had more success on a football field? I'm not calling South Florida UTEP, but just saying.
Yeah. And the final thing, a little news and notes, Jay, we both reported about Frank Miley coming
Yeah.
back. That is official. And then another familiar face to Matt Miller and some of those guys, Nate Potter coming over from Montana State as well.
Beauty.
Justin Udy.
Yeah. No, that's another familiar face.
It's an old trick it's an old trick when you're not quite sure how to pronounce it. You just you lead into the guy that you know does.
No, but I mean, I love both of those guys coming back, but I'm Frank Miley, to get him back as a defensive analyst, like home run, grand slam, outstanding.
I think it's huge. Get him back, and now this new rule, more important. I mean, in the past, this wouldn't have meant as much either. This new rule where you can have unlimited coaches on the field, basically, like they just called him a defensive analyst, but I guarantee you, we're going to be out there and see him, in workout clothes, sweating it up, working with the D line and some of these guys, and maybe that frees up, Chenander to do some different things as well as the D coordinator. Like, I'm looking forward to talking to Spencer and finding out more about what he's going to do. But I certainly don't think he's just going to stand on the side with a clipboard and tell Spencer what he sees.
Well, if Chenander wants to be up in the box, you literally have a defensive line coach that can be on the field with your guys now. Home run.
At a minimum, that's massive.
Yep.
That is massive. We also added a couple other folks to the staff. Colin McKelvey, a graduate assistant in the sports performance department, and Shawnee Fisk, a graduate assistant in the recruiting and operations department, announced as well. So 4 new official hires there. And as we found out last week, Jay, I know you talked to Spencer. That was a great episode with him and his brother. Folks can go watch that on Jay's Sports Bar on YouTube and stuff. Cool kind of rare conversation with Spencer and his brother together, telling stories and things. That was a nice get, Jay. But we did find out that April 19th is the spring game, and March 10th will be the first practice. The schedule is a little interesting to me. They're going to just have 3 practices, take the week off for spring break, and then when they come back, they're also going to extend it. Basically 3 practices a week for 4 weeks. They're going to stretch it out to, basically with the spring break, fall camps or spring camps going to be 6 weeks long from start to finish. But we'll find out, it's only a couple weeks away here, but March 10th, the first spring practice.
More football. I'll take it, man. I will take it.
Big night in the Mountain West tonight. Make sure you enjoy the games, folks. 9 p.m. are the 2 big ones, so you got to stay up late tonight for that. But Jay, appreciate you as always. Friday, we'll see how the standings and the games shake out the next few days, and then we'll kind of clean up the picture a little bit on Friday and really dive into this team and this game on Saturday night at San Diego State. Appreciate you as always, Jay. We'll be watching KTVB and following you on social media, and we'll talk to you on Friday, sir.
Sounds good, bud.
Appreciate Jay Tust for joining us, sports director at KTVB. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we appreciate you. Bronco Nation News Live. By the way, I'm working on these hats. I know some of you've reached out and said you like the hats. Not able to, like I said, we're dealing with some copyright issues and things with Boise State, so not sure if I'm going to be able to sell these or if there's a loop around or what we can do, but I know I'm loving the hats from Native Apparel and hoping we can figure something out if you guys are interested in these hats. I just don't know legally what we're going to be able to do in terms of trademark and things like that. So I do own the trademark for Bronco Nation News. So I'm hoping that but I'm not trying to get in a legal battle with Boise State here. We just want to see if there's a way to make it work for everybody and be able to make these hats available, because we've got some pretty cool ones here. And if not, it'll just be maybe your BNN co-host wearing the hats. We'll get Prater and Johnny and Jaden and everybody one of those, but hoping we can maybe make these available even at cost or something to you guys if you're interested in those, because I'm enjoying them and liking them. And so appreciate you guys for watching us. Thanks again to Taco Bell. Get the family out there to Taco Bell for a meal. Perfect night. We got baseball indoor hitting practice tonight, so we'll be going to Taco Bell probably on the way to workouts as soon as we get home from school, and then we'll settle in for some Mountain West basketball tonight. Tomorrow, I believe Austin Bolt is hopefully going to join us. We'll have Brad Bedell. We'll have a lot of football talk tomorrow. I know a couple of you in the chat were complaining about the no football talk until the end of the show. We will talk mostly Boise State football tomorrow with Brad Bedell. So if you have any football questions, spring camp, off-season roster questions, anything you have for Brad Bedell and Boise State college football talk, that'll be the primary focus on tomorrow's show on Bronco Nation News at 9 a.m. So appreciate you guys for checking us out. Go support the sponsors, including our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. All your painting needs, make sure you hit up our title sponsor, roepaint.com. That's roepaint.com. They're the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and they do a tremendous job. They've been with us as our title sponsor since day one of Bronco Nation News, which we've now pushed past the 3-year mark. So thank you to roepaint.com. Thank you to you guys for supporting the sponsors. There would be no free show on YouTube. You guys can complain, do whatever. It is what it is. Too many commercials, whatever. But the trade-off is you're watching a hour-long show pretty much on a daily basis for free on YouTube. And it's thanks to the sponsors that you see behind us, including our title sponsor, roepaint.com. I got to get Jackson's added to this board here. Maybe today's the day I order a new banner here. But we're super appreciative for all of our sponsors. Go support them, folks. That's the name of the game. Let them know that they're advertising and sponsorship of BNN is working. That's why you're supporting them, and can let them continue to help us make these shows free of charge on YouTube. And if you can, $50, BroncoNationNews.com. We would love your subscription. BroncoNationNews.com. Nathan Carroll's got a new article up looking at the big picture and the numbers on the basketball team. Mike Prater is going to send me a column that we're going to get posted as well on Tanaka Beard and Tyson Degenhart and his pursuit of the record. That'll probably go up today. And we got a lot of things, cooking as well. So before we head to San Diego on Friday, Bronco Nation News, again, other than Bob and Abe on the radio side, we're the only outlet that's been traveling regularly on the road with the team this year. So help support our efforts, help support our exclusive coverage that you're watching pregame, postgame with a $50 subscription at BroncoNationNews.com. BNN 50 deal is that promo code. And we would love to have you jump on as a subscriber and help us out. So football talk tomorrow with Brad Bedell. We'll see you at 9 a.m. Enjoy the basketball tonight. Go read all of our content and subscribe at BroncoNationNews.com. And we hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching another episode of Bronco Nation News on a Taco Bell Tuesday here at BroncoNationNews.com, presented as always by roepaint.com, our title sponsor. We'll talk to you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Football talk with Brad Bedell. We'll get back to basketball Thursday and Friday with Johnny Ballgame and Jay Tust. And we'll do all that for you at Bronco Nation News on social media, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, all those various places. And, of course, our website, BroncoNationNews.com. Have a great rest of your day. If news breaks or things happen, we'll obviously have you covered on social media and on the website. And we'll talk to you guys soon. And we'll see you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Don't forget, Tyson Degenhart show is 8 p.m. tomorrow. We'll be back with the Tyson Degenhart show tomorrow night. 2 shows tomorrow, kicking it off at 9 a.m. with Brad Bedell. Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RoePaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust roepaint.com to get that job done right.
It's game day. Are you ready?
Let's go!